And I know you've had it where you finish a piece and you hold it up and it looks craft fair and you don't know why. You've used beautiful beads, you followed the pattern and you put the time in and it still looks like something from a school fete. And that feeling used to drive me absolutely crazy because I could see the problem, I just didn't have the language for it. And without the language, I couldn't fix it. So today, I want to give you that language because once you understand what's actually making your work look unfinished, it's not your beads and it's not your technique, you can't unsee it. And everything you make from here changes. I call it the design eye, and by the end of this video, you're going to have one. I'm Paula, this is On a String, and this is a video I wish someone had made for me when I started beading years ago. So, let me tell you about the problem. What does craft fair actually mean? Because it's not an insult, it's a diagnosis. Craft fair beading usually has one of three problems. First, everything is the same weight visually. The beads, the colours, the pattern repeat. It all competes equally for your eye and nothing wins. It's busy without being interesting. Second, the colour story has no hierarchy. You've used beautiful colours and they're all given the same amount of space because none of them read as intentional. It just looks like you used what you had. And thirdly, this one is the quiet killer. There's no focal point. Nowhere for your eye to rest. When a piece doesn't have a focal point, the brain reads it as unresolved, and unresolved feels unfinished, even if every single stitch is perfect. None of this is about skill. I want to say that really clearly. I've seen technically brilliant beaders make craft fair pieces, including me, because nobody taught them about design. And I've seen beginners make stunning work because they stumbled onto these principles by accident. So when I'm talking about craft fair pieces, I've made them. This pair of earrings here, the colour is all the same all the way through. There is no focal point, nowhere for your eye to land. I made these years ago. I've never been happy with them, never worn them, and they sit there as a reminder of how my skills have developed. Another piece. This one really doesn't flow. It's black and bronze. There's no colour hierarchy here. Nothing actually around a dominant, a supporting, or an accent colour. It's just pretty blah. And really, this piece here, another one, sat in the cupboard, never worn, don't really like it. And when I look at these earrings, there's no focal point. There is just boring, black and red. There's nowhere really for the eye to land. And if I was thinking about this again, they'd look entirely different in terms of how I would create a focal point for these earrings. Design is a learnable skill. It's not taste, it's not talent, it's a way of seeing. And once you develop it, it's yours permanently. So here's what the design eye actually is. It's 3 questions you ask every piece before you consider it finished. Not rules, questions. Because rules make you rigid and questions make you better. Question 1, where does the eye go first? If you can't answer that in under 2 seconds, there's no focal point and you need one. Remember I showed you my blue craft fair earrings where the visual weight of these earrings is all the same, it's all blue. When you have a look at how I've developed my design eye sense over a period of time, these earrings, again in blue, have a much stronger sense of where your eye goes because of the cross pattern in the centre. And then again, these blue earrings here with blue and green and gold, the colours here have that colour hierarchy pattern of having 60% blue, 20% green, 20% yellow. So there is a definite colour hierarchy in both of these pairs of earrings that is not present in this pair. Question 2, is there a dominant colour, a supporting colour and an accent? Not equal thirds, a dominant, roughly 60% of the visual space. The rest splits between supporting and accent, and this ratio is what makes the colour feel intentional instead of random. So I showed you my boring craft fair piece before. Here again are some more black and pink pieces, and you can see here the colour hierarchy method. We've got black as a dominant colour, and then we've got the pink, probably about 30%, and then there's a pale pink in the 10%. When I look at this one here, again the same colours, and there's definitely a focal point. And your focal point with this one is really right in the centre or right through to the drop. And again, the colour hierarchy has been developed in this piece with that split of 60, 30, 10 in colours. And then question 3, does something in the piece have visual weight? Not size, but weight. Dark colours have weight, metallics have weight, and texture has weight. If everything is light and even, the piece floats and it needs an anchor. So remember the boring black and red earrings I showed you earlier? Have a look at these different styles of red earrings. Great focal point in this and a really good balance of the colour hierarchy method with black, silver and red featuring in these earrings. And again, a similar concept, red earrings again, but we've got a 60% dominant colour in red. We've got the beige and brown and gold all making that accent and supporting colours. But both of these designs have really strong focal points. The centre of these earrings and of course this elongated drop on these ones. The design eye has come through in these designs as opposed to this one. These three questions, focal point, colour hierarchy and visual weight, are the foundation of the design eye. And I'll be honest with you, the first few times you use them, you'll feel like you're second guessing yourself, and that's normal. That's the old habit of making by feel, running up against a new way of seeing. But stick with it, because after about 6 pieces, it'll become automatic and you won't ask the questions consciously, you'll just see, and that's when the design eye is yours. Design is a language, not a talent. Talent is inborn and language is learned. Every design principle in this video, focal point, colour hierarchy and visual weight, is vocabulary. You're not discovering whether you have taste, you're building a vocabulary for what your eye already knows. The frustration you felt is not a lack of ability, it's a lack of words. The 60-30-10 colour rule is your fastest win. If you take nothing else from today, 60% dominant colour, 30% supporting, 10% accent. This single ratio is responsible for more that looks intentional responses than any technique. It works because it mimics how the eye naturally reads colour. Dominant first, then the supporting story, then the surprise. Use it on your next piece and see what happens. And unresolved is not unfinished, it's a design decision. Some of the most beautiful contemporary beading intentionally withholds resolution. But that only works when it's deliberate. The difference between unresolved as a choice and unresolved because I didn't know is the design eye. Once you have it, every decision is intentional, including the ones that break the rules. If this landed for you, if you recognize yourself in any of what I've described today, I want you to do one thing. Not 3 things, not subscribe and like and comment and share, just one thing. Try the 3 questions on your next piece before you finish it. Where does your eye go first? Is there a colour hierarchy? Does something have visual weight? Just notice what you see. And if you want to go deeper, if you want to genuinely develop the design eye, not just know about it, I run a membership here on this channel, the Makers Club and the Design Eye tier. Every month I share design process notes, early access to new videos, and for Design Eye members, a new pattern and exclusive project video built around these principles. It's less than a cup of coffee a month, and it's where I go really deep with people who are serious about this. The link is in the description. Come and join us. And next time on this channel, and this one's already recorded, so it's coming soon, I'm going to be talking about something we went into a little bit today, colour. Specifically why the 3 colour rule works, when to break it, and the single most common colour mistake I see in beading that's almost never talked about. I've been wanting to make that video for quite a long time and I think you're going to love it.